Hi everybody, this is Live from Somewhere. Today we're going to spill some knowledge about Machu Picchu in Peru. We'll give them a taste.
It was built in the 15th century, then it wasn't discovered till the early 1900s.
What? That's crazy. You want to learn more?
Stay tuned!
This is Live from Somewhere.
Liberty Bibberty. If you like what you see, click the subscribe button. And click the notification bell thingy to stay informed. Hi, I'm Will. Come with me and my dad as we explore new places. You'll hopefully learn a little. You'll definitely laugh a little. This is Live from Somewhere.
Hi everybody, my name's Brian.
My name's Will.
And you just ran smack dab into
Live from Somewhere.
the show that challenges you to learn a little
And laugh a little.
Here at Live from Somewhere, we are 3 stops into our 7-stop adventure. And what 7 stops are we going to, Will?
The new 7 wonders of the world.
The new 7 wonders. That sounds exciting. What stop are we going to today?
Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu. That's Pikachu's older brother, no?
No. It's Machu Picchu in Peru.
Oh, that sounds more fun. Okay, so do we have to take your time machine?
Would you rather walk?
No, I guess I don't. Did you make any technical advances since the last time we went?
Well, yeah. I installed the smooth button.
You did. Does it work?
I think.
No. All right, so I'm gonna strap myself in. I'm gonna cross my fingers.
Okay, I got mine.
And let's see what happens. Punch in the coordinates. Well, let's see what happens.
So I have my buckle on. Beep boop 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 beep boop boop boop. Smooth
Oh,
button.
nice. I like that button.
Start.
Oh, hey. Hey, this is pretty smooth now that you mention. Oh, what was that sound, Will?
No.
I smell smoke! Ah, Will!
It's
Smooth button doesn't work, Will! Ah! Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh, Will. The smooth button, man, what happened? It worked for a second and then it died out?
I don't know.
You're going to have to go tweak that thing and figure it out pretty quick. I think you can do it, though.
I think my co-workers installed it.
Let's face your co-workers. You have co-workers?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. So here we are, and your time machine works, so that's good. I mean, I think you'll fix the smooth button, but the time machine works. It's proof right there. Look, where are we?
Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu. We're in the Andes Mountains in Peru. Will says Andes Mountains. I believe it's Andes Mountains, but, you know, at this point, I'm not really sure. I've been learning a lot. I can't believe I knew nothing of these 7 wonders, because I learned new stuff. Yeah, it's cray-cray. Dude, you're learning all this at 7. I'm just learning this for the first time. I'm 27, and I'm learning this for the first time.
You're 47.
What did you just say?
You're 47.
What? Oh, I just found out I was 47 years old. All right, well, anyways.
You're almost 50.
Yeah, right. Slow down, kid.
Yeah, you're almost 50.
All right, so Machu Picchu. Some amazing stuff here. Well, we're going to share with the fans. One of which is that Machu Picchu isn't even the real name of this thing, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what the real name is. Machu Picchu, or what they call this Incan site, is between 2 mountains. The 2 mountains are the Huayna Picchu and the Machu Picchu, right? So it's named after one of the mountains. Why is that?
Because...
Why don't we know? Well, because the native Incans didn't have a written language. And most of everything they owned was destroyed in the mid-1500s by the Spanish conquistadors when they basically took over South America.
Conquistadors.
Right? So there's that.
Yes.
So Machu Picchu means old mountain, but again, it's named after one of the mountains, and they just figured they'd call it Machu Picchu because it's attached to one of them. So we do know some things, even though we don't know a lot about Machu Picchu. You can look up things on this place for days, man, and we did. We spent a lot of time looking at different ideas. We'll throw a bunch of stuff at you. But we do know basically the where and the when. We know where it is. It's in western South America, right?
Yeah.
Peru, yeah. So we know that. We know it's way up there in a mountain. How high is this thing?
Like 8,000 feet.
8,000 feet, which is like
sea level.
Above sea level, that's right. So it's about 1.5 miles up, 2,400 meters for our international friends. And we do know when it was built. We have a rough idea. When was this thing built, Will?
It was built in the 15th century.
In the 15th century.
Like around 1450.
Yeah, they think around 1450. So that's basically the where and the when. And the how is kind of a mind blower as well. So these guys, these Incans, we know they worked without iron tools because they found a bunch of stone tools there.
And no
Well, they had
wheel.
they had no wheel. No wheels. I mean, you have wheels. I have wheels. They didn't have wheels to move things.
I don't have wheels on my
Well, you have wheels on your bike. I have wheels on my car. And they also didn't have what I dubbed as a new term. I didn't know what these were called.
I have
Draft animals. What was draft animal? What was a draft animal?
Like, a draft animal is like an animal that carries things.
An animal that carries things. So they didn't use them either. Although they had animals, I believe. But I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to overwork their animals or something. But basically what they had to do was, there's two mountains. And they had to fill in this area between two mountains. So they had to carry all the stone that you see. They had to carry all the earth that it's laid upon. And then they had to figure out water. Because this thing obviously doesn't have any running water, right?
Well, yeah.
So they had to build a water management system. So they had to get water there. And then they had to deal with drainage. So all the crushed rock that they built on, they carried that stuff. And that's got to be a long way. So right now, they built a road that people can go and you can hike to Machu Picchu. You know how long it takes them to hike to Machu Picchu now, today?
4 days?
4 days. So, and that's with a road. And these guys built that road. So can you imagine how long it took them to get up there with a big stone?
Well, I can possibly stay up for, like, my maximum. What?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
but
like...
you can't even walk your bicycle up the slight road we have out here. And that's got 2 wheels. That's crazy. You make me do it.
I can't carry groceries at the stairs.
Well, that's funny you bring that up. So Mama, on the other hand, can carry a boatload of groceries up the stairs. She'd make a great Incan. Me and you, I think we'd probably be left behind. We'd have to go to the beach and try and build something there. But anyways, let's carry on. They brought all the rocks, the earth. They built a water management system, and something else amazing that came from one of your cousins, a distant cousin from Maine, by the name of Lexi. What did Lexi tell us?
That it was that, like, the rocks have no mortar.
No mortar. So mortar is what we use today to hold stones and bricks and all other kinds of things together. But the Incas, the Incans, didn't use any mortar. So all the stones that you see behind us, they're just placed there. They're cut so precisely and wedged together.
You can't even fit, like, a knife.
Oh yeah, that guy on, we watched some videos, the guy couldn't even fit a knife. But in some areas, so they say, here's what they say, Will. They say this thing is like earthquake proof, right? So back in the 1450s when they were building this thing, there's records today that says there was this huge earthquake. And back then it was probably a huge earthquake. Here we'd probably deal with it. We've had one since we moved here. A 6.5 magnitude earthquake, which is pretty large, especially if you got just rocks hanging around. And you can see in certain areas, I got some pictures where you can see damage in the rocks. You can see spaces and whatnot in the rocks. And they believe what they did was they started building this thing. They had this big earthquake. They saw their rocks move, and they went back to the drawing board. What's that?
So, like, I remember this thing where there was an earthquake. I was visiting my East Coast cousin, West Coast,
Yeah.
and there was an earthquake, and then I didn't feel it, but there was an earthquake.
There was.
And then I just, like, rushed under the table.
He did. He bolted under the table. Once again, I don't think the Incas ran under the tables when there was an earthquake. They probably kind of looked around and went, how's your rock doing? Oh, my rock's all right. But anyways, it moved the rocks. And I think what they say is they went back to the drawing board and said, how can we make this stronger? So what they did was they changed their design up a little bit. And now you see big rocks on the bottom, smaller rocks on top. They did a little angle to it, and they put these archways around the doorways. And what they ended up with is still standing today. And this thing is built on 2 fault lines. Will, what's a fault line? You remember?
No.
It's a crack in the planet.
Oh.
And this is where earthquakes tend to happen. And this thing's built on 2 of them. So this thing is, neighboring areas have been leveled by earthquakes. But this place, it's built with rocks and no mortar, and yet it's still alive today, still around. And they say when there's an earthquake, what happens?
The rocks move.
The rocks move and dance around.
And
Alexi
stop
told us
in
this.
place.
And then they just settle down in place. So that was amazing. I tried to find some video of that, but I couldn't. But I do have some of the damage, and then you can see all the other stuff behind us that I did find. So, this thing was abandoned in around 1572, they say, and they can tell that with all the artifacts that they had. But another big question is, why did this thing exist, right? So we looked everywhere, and there's all kinds of different theories and whatnot. So nobody knows. So A, could be a retreat for the rich people, because they figured, oh, somebody built this, it must be for the rich rulers and their families.
I'm rich.
Yeah, I'm rich, so I'm going to go. So a retreat, what's a retreat?
A retreat is like you're going on a vacation.
Yeah, you're going on a vacation. So, we go to the lake every now and then. These guys said, hey, let's go to that place on the top of the mountain and chill for a little while. So that was one theory. Another theory was a holy place of worship, because they know that the Incans had a lot of gods that they dug. And they said this was a good place to go. They really dug the god of the sun god, and this was closer to the sun god, I guess. They call it a fortress for defense, and another one is an observatory, because they were into the stars and stuff and the gods and whatnot. So, who knows? There's all kinds of theories. Feel free to look them up yourself and draw your own conclusion, but we really don't know. What we do know is that it was abandoned in around 1572.
Yeah.
And then nobody was there for around
Discovered.
over 300 years. When was it discovered, Will?
1911.
So obviously this thing existed, people lived there, but then nobody was there for almost over 300 years.
Yeah.
Then it was discovered in 1911 by a professor from Yale whose name is Hiram Bingham. So he was a professor at Yale. Where's Yale? We found that out.
In Connecticut.
In Connecticut. So it's thought this guy was out looking for something else. He tripped over these locals that lived down at the bottom of the mountain. And it was clear that it's thought that these locals knew about this place that was up in the mountain. And they're like, hey, we'll take you to this place up at the top of the mountain. So they took him to this place, which is now Machu Picchu, and he claimed it as a discovery, even though these guys kind of knew about it, but the rest of the world didn't know about it. So what Hiram did was he collected, they say, about 40,000 artifacts. And, the artifacts were what did he find up there? What stuff?
Like mummies.
Mummies. There was big burial grounds out there.
Tools.
Found a lot of stone tools, a lot of bones.
Mummies.
There was ceramics. Yep, mummies.
What's ceramics?
Ceramics are like bowls and jugs and vases and stuff like that. Pottery and stuff. Junk is what I call it. But I mean, back in those days, it wasn't junk. Well, I guess it was junk. I don't know how that works. But all these artifacts he took from the site and he brought it back to Yale, and they stayed there from 1911. He took all this stuff, and Peru was like, "Hey, that's our stuff. That belongs to us." And it wasn't until 2010 that Yale signed an agreement with Peru to return a lot of these artifacts, because technically they were theirs, right? He just rolled in. He said, "Hey, I found this. They're all mine." But really, it's their heritage and their stuff. And who do you think deserves it?
Peru.
Nah, me too. I think they deserve it. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this one. Will, what do you think?
Well, I think.
Yeah, you got anything else to say? You good? Maybe next time.
Yeah, I'm good.
So until next time, we thank you for stopping by on yet another episode of
Live from Somewhere.
Live from Somewhere. Thanks for hanging out. We don't know where we're coming next. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.